Oh, 10 o'clock. All right. Well, welcome, everybody. I'd like to call our salary board meeting for April 13th, 2021 to order. And would you join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Again, welcome, everybody, and thank you for being here today. All right, the first item on the agenda for the salary board is to approve the minutes from the March 9th, 2021 meeting. Unless any member of the board has a question or concerns about what was contained in the minutes, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the same.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion having properly moved and seconded, all those in favor so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. We have a request from the commissioners for consideration to create a temporary part-time department clerk 2 in our elections office effective April 12th, 2021 through May 21st, 2021. Of course, this is to help with the primary election, particularly with the advent of mail-in ballots. Is there a motion as to the same? Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion having properly moved and seconded, all those in favor so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. We also have a request from the commissioners to set the salary of the Deputy Warden of Operations at the Clearfield County Jail at $44,000 a year annually, retroactive to March 22nd, 2021. Is there a motion as to the same?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Motion having properly moved and seconded, all those in favor so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Next item, we have a request from the commissioners to set the salary of the EMA director at $43,500 a year, retroactive to March 15th, 2021. Do we have a motion as to the same?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion having been properly moved and seconded, all those in favor so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Okay. Finally, we also have a request from President Judge Ammerman to set the salary of the Assistant Director of the Domestic Relations Office at $47,141 annually, retroactive to, and I believe the date on the letter that I have indicates November 16th, 2020, which was the date of appointment to that position. We do have Rick Redden from the Domestic Relations Office and Chip Bell, the court administrator, here. Gentlemen, did you wish to address the salary board at this time?
We just think that's very good. Salary based on
Thank you, Rick. Chip, did you want to say anything?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
You have any questions?
Yeah.
I've got a question. How come we're going all the way back to 2020 for this effective date? I mean, this is April 2021. He took the position, we did not waive it, so he can work as the lower rate that was paid for all that time. So we're just trying to make up for the difference of him doing the work that he was paid for. I would recommend making it retroactive to some time in 2021 instead of going back into 2020. Well, we will get the full 66% reimbursement for the longer one.
Well, that's not really the point, though. The point is I don't like that precedent. I actually agree with the controller on this one. If we were going to do it, we should have discussed it back then. I'm definitely not in favor of taking it back anywhere near that far.
I would recommend taking it to March 28th of 2021.
March 1st? March 1st? Or
28th.
You want
28th.
You making that motion?
Is there a motion, Tom?
I'll make a motion, request, start a salary of assistant director of BRO at $47,141 annually, retroactive to March 28th, 2020.
I'll second that motion.
All right. Go
Um,
ahead,
Typically,
Tony.
though, to let people know, when we do the retroactive, like the other ones that we've seen here, it's typically because we've missed the salary board. So if people are saying, well, why did you do it for the Deputy Warden of Operations retroactive to March 22nd? Because when we appointed her and agreed on salary, there was no salary board meeting. So we have to retroactively do that. So, but in this position, that we didn't receive anything from the courts until actually we received a letter the other day. So just to signify the difference. So that's why, that's just like to state that.
Okay. Any other comment from the board? All right. Motion having properly moved and seconded. All those in favor of setting the salary of the Assistant Director of Domestic Relations at $47,141 annually, retroactive to March 28th, 2021. In favor, so state aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay, so that's the action of the board. Other than that, I have nothing else for the on the agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn the salary board meeting?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion having properly moved and seconded. All those in favor so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And guys, you don't have to stick around. You're welcome to, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Yep. Thank you. All right, we're going to go directly into our commissioners' meeting, and obviously we will wave the salute to the flag. First item on the agenda is approve the minutes of the previous meeting of March 23rd, 2021. Is there a motion to approve the same?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion having properly moved and seconded. All those in favor so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next item, the bills. Tom.
Okay, general fund, $731,131.21. Hazardous materials fund, $207.41. 911 fund, $8,941.81. Communities Development Block Grant, $95. Domestic Relations, $1,932.89. Children and Youth Services, $117,085.69, giving us a grand total of $859,394.01.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Is there a motion to approve the bills as stated by the controller?
So
Thank you. Is there a second?
second.
Thank you. Motion having been properly moved and seconded, all those in favor so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, personnel issues. Oops, let's get the bills signed here. Thank you, Dave. Okay, Tony. Okay, thank you. All righty, we do have some personnel issues to resolve. The following personnel changes are before the board for approval or denial by the commissioners. Under new hires, we have a legal secretary 2 in the district attorney's office effective March 29th, 2021. Part-time department clerk 2 in the elections office effective April 12th, 2021. Jury coordinator, law librarian employed by the courts effective April 26, 2021, and field assessor in our tax assessment office effective May 3rd, 2021. Under separations and retirements, we have a part-time department clerk 3 in the controller's office effective March 25th, 2021. Legal secretary 2 in the district attorney's office effective April 8th, 2021. Caseworker at Children and Youth Services effective April 9th, 2021. Conference officer in the Domestic Relations Office effective April 23rd, 2021. Clerk typist 2 at Children Youth Services effective April 23rd, 2021. And a bookkeeper 3 Cost and fines, portion of probation, effective April 30th, 2021. We have 2 transfers for consideration: a part-time corrections officer at the county jail to full-time corrections officer at the county jail, effective March 22nd, 2021. And finally, a legal secretary 2 in the district attorney's office to legal secretary 3 in the district attorney's office, effective April 1st, 2021. Unless there are some questions or concerns, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the personnel changes as presented.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion having properly moved and seconded. All those in favor so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Okay, next item is public comment. I know Ms. Susan Williams, you are here to present some public comment to the board.
I am, and thank you for the opportunity. I'm Susan Williams, and I'm here today in my role as chairman of Clearfield County Recreation and Tourism Authority. I've been asked by the board of the authority to unanimous decision to come and present to the commissioners to ask them to consider raising the occupancy tax that the hotels collect for us. That is our funding source. You might ask why now, and I'll go back. In 2016, Act 18 was passed by the Commonwealth, and that allows counties to raise the tax from 3% to 5%. At that time, 32 counties did that in 2016 and early 2017. Clearfield County did not. At that time, 9 counties that aren't even affected by Act 18 have taxes up to 8.5%. So those are just some counties that are out there that were not impacted by Act 18. This has been discussed as long as I've been on the board. Prior to COVID, we were talking about the need to do this. And of course, COVID happened last year. We found other funding sources. We found a way to get through the year. But now that we're coming out of the pandemic, we really have found a need to increase the occupancy tax to give us the funds that will allow us to do a couple of things. First of all, we want to get our grant program back up and running. We weren't able to find any grants last year at all. We would like to get that back up and running, and if we can get that effective soon enough, we think we could do that even this fall. Secondly, we need to do the additional marketing of the county to get our name out there more. We offer, for a pandemic, we offer the perfect place to have people come and visit. We are in the middle of nowhere, but we are also in the middle of nowhere. So it's a perfect place to come for those seeking to have tourism opportunities. I know there's some people that say, well, I don't think we should do this, or it's going to impact my business. I know there's an article or a segment on WCAJ that talks about the negative impact, and I disagree with that completely. It's very minor as far as the percentage goes. All of us have traveled and been to hotels, and I'm sure the first thing you don't ask is, what is the hotel tax in this county? One of the quotes that I thought was interesting on the WCAJ article, one of the comments on their page, actually came from the general manager of the hotel in Du Bois, and she sums it up very well for me. So if I can quote her from this comment: "In the current times, the extra 2% will provide Clearfield County Recreation and Tourism Authority vital funding to promote and develop our county to appeal to travelers who are seeking out less populated destinations, such as Clearfield County. Travelers are gaining in the experiences from the funding this organization uses to WA. So she said, quote, it's about time." So I'd also like to introduce, we have with us the general manager from the Best Western here in Clearfield today, Linda Snyder.
Aye.
So I did talk to Clearfield County a week ago about it, told her how to do it, and I have to agree with them. To be on site at the hotel and the people that are coming out, maybe once or twice a year for somebody actually calls. That's the hotel tax. As far as the rates go, even with the other hotels in the area out there, we are all looking at $3 rates. So a 2%, anytime during the year, is going to amount to maybe $1.70 per room. It's not a huge price that the guests are going to be concerned with it. The only time it would show a real difference is on Penn State graduation and the Penn State weekend. Those are the highest rates in Clearfield County, and I still don't think it would prevent anybody from coming, because my management company is actually in Fort College. Over there, we have to stay a minimum of 2 nights on Penn State weekend. People come to the hotels in Clearfield because they can't afford to stay 2 nights at a $500 a night rate that the hotels pay. So I don't even think that extra tax on the high rate nights would be useful. I think it's going to help the county do what they got to do, because they don't think 2% is going to.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
I know we don't, when it comes to public comment, the board does not necessarily have to ask questions of someone speaking, but I think it would be appropriate in this instance if, do either one of the board members, other than myself, wish to ask either one of the ladies any questions?
Well, I guess I have one question for you, and I agree that normally it's not our policy,
Yeah.
but I think this is a good time to make an exception. It's my understanding, and I don't run a hotel, but that money for this tax should be kept separate from your general revenues. And so then when it's due, you've got it sitting there and you just send it in, right? So any hotel who's doing this properly should not see their bottom line affected because they should never touch this money anyway.
Correct, the tax does not add anything on revenue.
Exactly, and I thought so. I just wanted you to say that to verify that for any hotelier that's doing this, it should be a zero impact
Yeah,
to
it
that.
has no
It should be
impact
zero
on
impact.
our revenue or anything that we do at all, because the tax is just, on top, and so, yeah, you're correct, it doesn't hurt us either way.
That's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
Do either one of you ladies know, I know Center County raised their hotel tax to 5% about 2 years ago. Do either one of you ladies know what the status, what the hotel tax percentage is in the county surrounding Clearfield County? Okay. My understanding was something similar to what you said, Sue, that the majority of the counties in the state, what is there, something 57 of the 67 are allowed to do it, and the majority of the 57, I think, did raise their rates. Mm-hmm.
And then there's several counties that combine their resources to fund it for this reason.
Okay, thank you. Does the board have any other questions for the ladies?
What do you think? I mean, now that we're getting the vaccination is coming out and more people have been, things are opening up, is that going to, get more revenues too? Rec and tourism. I mean, I know last year, there weren't people coming to hotels and the revenues were less. So, is there a necessity to raise it right now?
Well, what we're seeing, what we're being told by the industry experts is that we should expect a rebound in 2021, and we are seeing some of that, but we don't really feel that we could hit until about 2023.
The other thing to consider, and I'm not advocating for this, I'm not really averse to the tax increase in general, but we are allowed to use the Rescue Act funds for recreation and tourism.
Yes, we are.
So we could potentially, even if we don't do that right away, we could potentially maybe try to make them whole
Exactly.
through those funds.
Yep.
So that they can then restart their grant program, because I think we all agree that grant program
very
is
important.
really, really important.
Very important.
And I agree as well. I believe the businesses and events that we could help this year really taking the right up
Yeah.
So
as
if-
far as the tax going forward, even coming out of COVID, I think before COVID hit, I felt like we were behind other counties that had 5%. Clearfield County has about a 50% occupancy rate normally. Surrounding counties are 54%. So we were just already lagging behind a little bit, and I would like to see us catch up or surpass that, so we don't have so much to offer.
Yeah. Hopefully, too, a lot of the hotels and the hoteliers are taking advantage of the SHRP program that's available now, too. It obviously would be a help, because I do know the travel and tourism industry was really devastated by this past year of the COVID pandemic. So
Good segue there.
Yep.
Deadline is the 15th.
get them in.
15th for
Get
sure.
them in. I just had a conversation with someone that has a restaurant a few days ago. Told them the same thing. But you're right,
Especially for
Dave.
the hotels. I mean,
Yeah.
we've done a lot with a lot of the restaurants, but any hotel that hasn't applied really should strongly consider
Get it
applying
in.
this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you very much for your comments and your presentation. If you can get that information to me, Sue, I'd appreciate it. I think the board will take it. I hate to borrow a term from the courts, but I think the board will. Am I correct, fellas? The board will take it under advisement at this point, your request. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And you're welcome to stay, guys, but you don't have to I know you all have busy schedules, so. All right, thank you. Go ahead, Joe. Very good, thank you. Okay, under old business, I don't have anything. Under new business, we have a request to proclaim April 11th to the 17th as, and of course, this is a subject and a field of endeavor that of course, has been in the news quite a bit lately because of the past year. Public Safety Telecommunicator Week, we have Jeremy Ruffner, deputy from our 911 office here. And Jeremy, if you'd like to address the board, the floor is yours.
I will provide the board with a press
Thank you.
release. I've issued this to the media that's here. I want to do it. I can see you sitting back there.
Oh,
And a proclamation to go along with it. I have a hard copy
Thank
of
you.
it, but I'll ask you guys to sign.
sure.
So, this week nationally is Telecommunicator Week, and the press release, which I provided to the media, states that 200,000 telecommunicators nationwide will be recognized this week, April 11th through the 17th, during National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. One thing to note inside of the press release, in 2020, I put a little bit of data in there. Our center processed 110,043 phone calls. That's a lot of phone calls. If you do the math on that, it's about 300 per day. One thing to note, in 2020, we actually lost about 8,000 phone calls. And I couldn't quite figure out where they went because historically, when I go back 20 years, watching the numbers grow, 2020 was the first year it fell, and it was all ambulance calls.
Mhm.
People weren't going to the hospital. They didn't want to go to the hospital. They were like, my back hurts. Normally, my back hurts, you go to the hospital. Now my back hurts, no, I'm not going to the hospital. I'm going to the hospital. So ambulance calls were way down in 2020. I expect 2021 to make up that difference. They're going to make up some time, and we'll see those numbers rebound. The 911 center does provide dispatch services for 13 police, 14 EMS, and 37 fire agencies countywide. So the proclamation was provided to you gentlemen, and I would ask that you proclaim this week as National Public Safety Telecommunicator Week in Clearfield County.
Okay, well, Jeremy, thank you, and certainly on behalf of Clearfield County, we want to thank our telecommunicators and of course you who serve administratively also in that same office. I'm sure we don't say, well, I know we don't say thank you enough, but that's certainly a very critical component in our first responder services community that we have here in the county, and of course we have nationally. So thank you and thank the employees for everything they do. Guys, you have any?
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that our folks worked right straight through. They never took a break during COVID. They did what they had to do. We had very little issues. We had, no issues really.
Mhm.
We did temperature checks at the doors. We washed our hands all the time. We kept away from each other. We did what we had to do. There was literally no issues, and it was awesome. It was just because they did such an awesome job of being careful when they were out of the center and stay away from people. And most of our folks have gone and gotten their vaccinations now. We are probably 90% vaccinated,
Nice.
which is outstanding. So,
And that's another good segue. Starting, was it today or yesterday?
Today.
Today, any Pennsylvanian 16 and older can go get an appointment to get a vaccination. Yes, and anyone, an older person, well, everyone, but particularly older Americans within the county, and particularly members of our first responder community and emergency response community, because you folks being on the front lines are so much more subject to the danger than anyone else. So, does anybody else have anything before I read the proclamation? Does anybody else wish to state
Well,
anything?
Yeah, we recognize the telecommunicators. They're the first, line that people usually make contact with in an emergency, in a frantic situation. It's always good to have that calm, steady voice that'll take and assess the situation, relay it to the proper authority, firefighters, police, EMS, ambulances. So that way, that everything goes through, in nice, smooth order. So that's very important to keep in mind, because when an emergency happens, it's always good to have that calm, steady voice.
and one other thing to note too, PEMA, who is the Pennsylvania Emergency Management on operations. And so the operations of the 911 center cost the county very little money, which provides a huge service to the county. And I appreciate the commissioners' support in continuing that funding and administration of that funding. So we've upgraded a lot of services over the years, and it's made their jobs a lot easier, but they're a lot more efficient. So they're able to process. I mean, processing 110,000 phone calls in the course of a year is a difficult business, but they do it really well.
Thanks, Jeremy. Well, I have a proclamation to read that I will read in the record and the commissioners will take action on. Whereas the U.S. Congress and the President of the United States have established the second week of April as National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, whereas the Clearfield County Department of Emergency Services, also known as the 911 Center, is the crucial first contact with those in need of emergency assistance and dispatches appropriate public safety providers or responders who may apprehend a criminal, save possessions from a fire, or save lives. Whereas the 911 Center employees are devoted to customer service excellence and a high level of professionalism. Whereas professional telecommunicators are critical to our country's emergency response, dispatching law enforcement, firefighters, emergency medical services, and any other emergency responders 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Whereas professional telecommunicators are not visible as the men and women who arrive on the scene of emergencies, but provide the vital link to public safety service as part of the first responder team. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Clearfield County Board of Commissioners, on behalf of all residents of Clearfield County, does hereby proclaim April 11th to 17th, 2021 as Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. And gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion on affirming the proclamation.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion having been properly moved and seconded, all those in favor so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Jeremy, if you want to leave that hard copy. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Jeremy, yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what your high day was?
High day?
Yeah.
Oh,
I did like 600 one day or something?
I would say would be at least that, yeah. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jeremy,
Yeah,
We
the high
can-
wind day there
yeah.
about 3 weeks ago
Yeah.
was horrible. I was dispatching that day, so you know
Yeah.
I'm dispatching that it's getting busy, so.
did you need this right now, Jeremy, or
No.
wait till the end? Okay. And Jeremy, you were welcome to stay or go, depending on whatever you feel is most appropriate. So, okay. Well, thank you. Second item under new business, we have an agreement with Sinclair Child Services to implement and administer the Family Reunification Program. Heather, is that you, or is Lisa, Deputy Solicitor
It's-
Lisa?
Well, I guess I'll deal with it. But, so family reunification has been a long-standing program with Sinclair to be administered by Sinclair and used by our CYS. I think it used to be called Time, I think they changed the name of it. But regardless, no funding dollars have changed. I guess I did move some budget numbers around, but everything is still the same bottom line. So I can tell you.
We're a pass-through for this, correct? For
Yes.
Funding, that's what I thought, yeah. Okay. All right. Was there anything else you had to add to that, Lisa?
No.
Okay. Heather, you don't?
Nothing additional, no, it's a
Okay.
standard agreement, as you stated, we are a pass-through for that.
Okay. Well, then in that case, I'll ask for a motion to execute the agreement with Sinclair Child Services to implement and administer the Family Reunification Program.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Thank you. Motion having been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next item, a service agreement with BMP Systems.
This is a service agreement for the CYS department. This is a one-year agreement. It is a $475 rate. It is for services on their copier. It has been reviewed and approved as to its form today. They will repair on the drum and toner and keep that machine running for CYS. And the effective date of that is March 5th of 2021 through March 5th of 2022.
Okay. Thank you, Heather. If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the service agreement with BMP Systems for the copier, as explained.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion having been properly moved and seconded, all those in favor so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we have consider a rental agreement with the Clearfield County Fair and Park Board, and I'm assuming that is for,
Election
I was going to say, yeah. All right. I was going to say election, but election training. Thanks, Lisa.
It's our standard agreement for the 2 days for election training that we've done in the past, so that's been approved as to its form this morning.
Okay. Is there a motion as to the agreement with the Clearfield County Fair and Park Board?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion having been properly moved and seconded, all those in favor so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
We have a couple purchase of service agreements to look at, Lifespan Family Services as well as Community County Services.
Yes, these are, again, our standard purchase of service agreements. We've contracted with both Community County Services and Lifespan for several years now. These agreements were actually prepared last year and sent to them. However, they're just being returned to us, which is why they are on the agenda for today's approval. But there were no changes to last year's agreement, so those have been approved as to their form as well this morning.
Okay. Well, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the purchase of service agreements with Lifespan Family Services, and Community County Services. We don't need a separate motion for either, do we? Or should? Okay. Anyway, is there a motion as to the same?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion having properly moved and seconded. All those in favor so signify by stating aye.
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 Aye. Okay, the last item under new business, as the community knows, Clearfield County has been exploring the subject of renovations at the Clearfield County Prison, along with a number of energy-saving accomplishments to be done as part of the process. Clearfield County previously had asked for RFPs as to the same. I believe there were 4
Correct.
companies that applied. 2 Clearfield County chose to explore the project with, that being McClure Energy from, I think originally based in Bellefonte, Pennsylvania, and also ABM, which is a company, I think it's a national company, but we've been dealing with the Pittsburgh office. I think the home office is New York, if I remember correctly. Anyway, the county feels it's very important that we make a decision one way or the other as to which entity to partner with, because the year is going by and we need to get started on making whatever renovations need to be made as soon as possible. So at this point, I'll open it up to the board for comments, ideas, thoughts. Of course, I intend to participate also, but gentlemen, do you have any thoughts as to the same?
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, it's really good that we're doing this. I mean, I think let's talk about the things that I think all parties agree on, including both of those companies. The roof is in terrible shape. There's some concern about letting it go through another winter cycle. The HVAC system is past its useful life, and it's still pneumatic controls. I think everybody agrees that's 1979 technology. My understanding is the generator doesn't work. There's a lot of water that's coming into the facility, which can cause other problems. Luckily, it sounds like it hasn't caused anything super serious, but that's not a problem that'll resolve itself if we don't do something to correct it. So I want to thank both of you for taking time to make this a priority so that we can make sure the facility stays safe and secure. And so I think we all recognize the need to take a direction here. So then the question is, what direction? I mean, I'll say my piece for McClure. They reached out to us. They came in. They did a very thorough study. They've done a lot of work for the county. They have good relationships with contractors and architects within the county. So I would feel comfortable with them. I know that they came in first. They kind of put some numbers on the table first. That becomes an easy target. And keep in mind that all the numbers we've seen are estimates. We haven't asked anybody to put, their name to a contract saying this is the number. These are all estimates. So I favor them. I know that the warden thinks that they're, a little bit better about them, but I'll also say that I think both companies are good, and I think that the key on either case is going to be to hold them to account and make sure that they do what they signed up to do and keep us on schedule. So there you go.
Thank you. Tony, do you have some thoughts?
Yeah, and I do, well said, Commissioner Glass. Both, companies did come here. ABM came here twice. They brought in their own structural engineer plus 2 independent structural engineers on separate visits, and they concluded that the building is that renovations can be done on it, that it structurally needs improvements, but it's sound to take on those improvements. So I found that very valuable, and that once again, they came in with an estimate that was lower, but they came in second. I mean, the other company was already here, and their numbers were a little bit less. They're like $7.5 million to $8.8 million to cover all the critical needs improvements throughout the facility, including new HVAC and building automation system. And that they said that once they do the investment grade audit, they could go through some things with us and discuss with us what else we would like to do, because there are certain things that we can look at, but that might not be a necessity, but that could be a major improvement that maybe the warden might want. But unfortunately, we do have to think about the taxpayer, so we have to, as we go through the project, they can inform us of which way, what's the best way, what's most, but what's the price is on that too, so that we have an idea, like budget-wise, what to go with. So I both companies are good, but I do trust, ABM. I feel, pretty confident in their procedures and what they looked at.
So, and I didn't do this intentionally, but I guess I gotta break the tie, huh? I honestly didn't mean to. When I set this up, I like to let the board speak before I speak, so I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to quite set the stage for this. But anyway, look, I absolutely agree with the comments of both my fellow commissioners. They're both gentlemen are on point. Both companies are excellent companies. I know McClure recently did a project for energy upgrades at the Clearfield Elementary School. And I know I did check with one of the references was Center County. I did speak to Commissioner Michael Pipe at Center County, and he spoke very, very highly of McClure, and the commissioners were very satisfied with an energy upgrade project, a comprehensive project that McClure did for them. I did also check with a couple of ABM's references. I spoke to Charles Young, if I remember correctly is his name. He's chairman of the Board of Commissioners of Columbia County, which is Bloomsburg. He said he had similar comments about ABM as Commissioner Pipe, I think Chairman Pipe, I'm not sure, Commissioner Pipe had about McClure. In the end, I think if Commissioner Scotto is correct, I believe the final figure that we got from ABM was their estimate, and I don't say guesstimate in a silly fashion, I just mean Commissioner Glass is correct, it's an estimate. Their estimate was, I believe, $7.5 million to $8.8 million to do the project at the Clearfield County Jail. McClure's came in at, I believe, 10 to 11 million. You are absolutely right, Dave. It's easy when you come in after the first entity has come in and made their predictions. However, because of the cost involved, because of the lower estimate being provided by ABM, and I know it's only an estimate, and I am of the ilk that I would prefer to keep the cost down as much as possible, considering that both companies come with good recommendations and both companies have been in the business for quite a while. My my personal feeling is to go with ABM's proposal. Again, it's an estimate, I recognize that, but I think probably you are correct. I think the secret is to stay on them and have work very closely with them and have good people involved. I would note that whatever decision, we'll have to take a vote, but I was going to say after that vote's taken, I believe the commissioners do intend to try to use local workforce as much as possible. That's something we've expressed to both companies. And hopefully, and this occurred to me, Sue, that you and the young lady from the hotel came in. Hopefully, if there are, and I think we can probably push this, whatever company we choose, hopefully out-of-town workers will stay as much as possible in local hotels, obviously, to try to do something to at least hopefully make up for the lost revenues. Is there anything else that anybody else would like to say before we take a vote to choose a partner in this project?
Well,
Go ahead.
just the last thing, I mean,
Sure, Dave.
it's more important that we move forward than, obviously, I felt pretty strongly about McClure, but it's more important to move forward. We could delay this, we could, put out an actual bid between the two of them, but the problem is time. And I don't think we can afford to wait, because if we do that, we'll probably slip this project into 22. And with the amount of water that's coming through that roof,
Yeah.
There's two good companies. I understand your arguments. I see it a little different, but the bottom line is we're agreed that we need to move forward, and I'm willing to, get behind. If ABM's the answer, then we'll just make sure that they do everything they can to keep those numbers accurate. And it's better to do that than to delay this in committee for another 6 months and end up with a big problem. I mean, because the longer we wait, the more this is going to cost. We know that.
I appreciate that. Absolutely appreciate that. Tony, do you have anything to say?
No.
Okay. Well then, if I may, and Heather, I assume we can just do this via motion. We don't need to do anything more complicated or technical.
No, we can do a motion to pursue ABM if that's the decision, or McClure, whoever the decision is. However, we would have to review the contracts and
Sure.
anything
Right.
like that before. So this would just be moving forward with ABM at this point.
Yeah, I think the next process is they do investment grade audit.
Right, but we have to, I think, in talking to her beforehand, just in general, what this motion would look like is we have to authorize ourselves and the solicitor to review
Right.
and execute the contract, and then they go
Yeah,
into
yeah,
the
okay.
investment grade. That'll take a couple months, I think.
Okay.
But that frees us up to
To start the
we don't have
process.
the contract yet.
Yeah.
So
Right.
This allows us to move forward on it as soon as possible.
Okay. Very good. All right then. Well then, I will entertain, and Heather, jump in if I misstate this at any point. I will entertain a motion that we partner with ABM Company to begin the process of developing and putting into place and enacting a guaranteed energy savings program and process at the Clearfield County Prison, contingent upon the review of all contract documents by the solicitor and agreement by the Board of Commissioners of Clearfield County to execute the same and proceed with the project. Does that make sense? Okay. All right.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second? Not a problem. I'll second it. I'll
Okay.
second it. Yeah, I gotcha. All those in favor so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
I'm going to vote no.
Not a
But
problem.
Not because I don't want to do the project.
Not a problem. Let the record reflect that there's nothing negative in Commissioner Glass's vote nay. So other than it's just a plain old no. So anyway, in that event, we will. Tony, do you want to get in touch with
Sure.
ABM
See
and
what they're
then
doing.
have them get with us?
Okay.
And Heather will keep you in the loop, obviously, because that's very important. But I do want to thank the board. I think the board, although we don't always agree on things, I think in general the board agrees on the county needs and sees the importance of moving forward with resolving those needs. And I felt the board handled this process very, very well. So I want to thank my fellow board members.
And I
want to say, I mean, even though this didn't go the way
Yeah.
I would have liked, I mean, we did our due diligence. I feel like we're on the right track, and I do appreciate the work that's being done here. And let's, you know, this is step 5 of 100, so we just have to keep the ball rolling. But thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
There's another, isn't there something
Yeah,
else?
we do have one more
Yeah, that's it.
item to add, but I think we might need an executive session. Do we
I
need
have
an
one item before we get to
Okay.
executive session.
Okay.
It is an addendum to an office lease for the Domestic Relations Office over in DuBois. Our lease is set to expire with them. I do believe our court administrator has spoken with them as well as Domestic Relations to extend that lease for a 24-month period. The new monthly rate will be $1,480. An addendum to the office lease was prepared and approved as to its form, and that is with Developac over in DuBois. And it is ready for your consideration this morning.
That's at the DRO office.
That's the
to
DRO
continue.
office, yes.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion that we execute the addendum.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion having been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor so signify by stating aye.
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 And
Heather,
I
go
do
ahead.
have an additional item that would require an executive session, and there may be a vote after that.
Okay.
We anticipate that'll be pretty brief executive.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion that we move into executive session for legal purposes.
Okay, at 10:45. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Being patient, everybody. Okay, is there a motion to come out of executive session at 10:56, please?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Heather, you have a little bit more to present to
Yes,
us.
I have one more item for consideration. It is an agreement with Lexisnexis Prison Solutions. It's a master agreement. What it's for is it's a 3-year agreement that will provide Lexisnexis, which is a legal research system, out at the jail for a monthly fee. That agreement will actually be able to be used on the iPads and such that we just approved the agreement with for GTL. So it's kind of streamlining the services that will be out there. We do have some versions of legal research out there that need to be updated, and this is going to allow us to do that a little bit more cost effectively. So that has been reviewed as to its form this morning and is ready for your consideration.
Okay, thank you. Then, fellas, I'll entertain a motion that, I'm sorry, unless there are questions or concerns beforehand, I'll entertain a motion that we enter into an agreement with Lexisnexis to provide electronically at least some legal research for inmates at the Clearfield County Jail within the parameters of the contract as reviewed by the solicitor.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Anything else, Heather?
Nothing.
Okay. Motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody.